You can add any number of tracks. Here I can right click and I can add additional video tracks or additional audio tracks. And here I could drop in additional items. As my video starts taking shape, here I could preview what it looks like. Unlike the Windows 10 free video editor, Shotcut supports a massive catalog of transitions. Here I could simply come down to my track and I could drag one of the items and position it over the others, and that'll automatically insert a transition. Here if I click into properties, I could choose from many different transitions, similar to OpenShot. Along with inserting transitions, I could also select one of these clips, and here I could click on filters, and I can add a massive catalog of different filters to this clip. One other thing that I really like about Shotcut is, depending on what you're working on, they have different views optimized to that task. Here, for instance, I'm currently in the editing view, which shows me the timeline down below and the preview. But I could also jump into an FX view, or maybe I want to do some color grading, so I could jump into the color view. There's also an audio view and a player view if I just want to review what my video looks like. All in all, Shotcut is a very powerful video editor, and when I look at all the videos on my channel, I could use Shotcut to pull any one of them together. So are there any drawbacks? Well, Shotcut is a little bit more complicated than the first two video editors that we looked at, so the learning curve is a little bit steeper. So it really depends on how serious you are about video editing. If you really plan on creating some advanced videos, this could be a good choice. But if you really just maybe want to pull together a simple video, this might have a few more capabilities than you really need. This now brings us to the fourth free video editor, and this one is called Kdenlive. You can get it at the website kdenlive.org. Once you land on the homepage to download it, you'll see a link right here, and this works cross-platform, so whether you have Windows, Mac, or Linux. And once again, this is also an open source video editor, so it's completely free to use. Choose your operating system and then go ahead with the install. This drops us into the main Kdenlive interface, and it looks pretty similar to the previous few video editors that we looked at. Over here on the left-hand side, you can drag and drop different files into the editor. And here too, just like we saw before, you can drag the different items down below onto the timeline. And here too, you get multiple tracks on your timeline. So here I could place them on the same track, or I could place them on separate tracks. One of the key differences, you'll notice now that I have two different ways I can view my video. Right here, I could view the clip. So I could jump into a clip and I could preview that. And then I also have a separate view of my project. So here I could see two different clips side by side. In terms of editing, you have many different tools to edit your videos. In fact, you have what's referred to as normal mode. There's an overwrite mode, so if you drag a clip down, it'll overwrite the existing clip, or you could insert it. They also have a wide variety of different editing tools that you can use. Similar to Shotcut, there are also views that are catered to what you're doing or the task at hand. Up here, I'm currently in the editing view, but let's say I want to work on audio, I could shift into a dedicated audio view. Or maybe I want to focus on effects, or maybe I want to focus on color grading my video. There are views that specialize in each one of those different tasks. Back on the main view, I can also add many different transitions. Here I have two different clips, and if I click into compositions, here I have all of these different options. Let's say I want to add a wipe transition between clips. Here I could insert it between these two clips, and that's now added a transition. I could also choose from many different effects that I want to add on top of any one of my clips. All in all, you can pull together some very impressive and advanced videos using Kdenlive. Although similar to Shotcut, one of the drawbacks is you do have a lot of different options and a lot of different controls. So the learning curve is a little bit steeper. However, there are lots of help resources online that'll help you get started with this video editor. This now brings us to free video editor number 5, and that's DaVinci Resolve 17. And this is the one that I personally use to pull together all of my videos on my YouTube channel. DaVinci Resolve is a very impressive application. In fact, many different TV studios or film studios use DaVinci Resolve to pull together their projects. DaVinci Resolve is a freemium product. What that means is you get most of the core or foundational capabilities entirely for free. However, if you want additional effects or tracking, it costs some money for those. But I've been using the free version and I've been able to do all of the editing that I want to get done. To download DaVinci Resolve 17 on this main site, once again the link is in the description, scroll down and then click on Download Now. When you click on Download Now, you'll have a few different options. There's DaVinci Resolve 17. This is the most recent version. You could also get an older version, however, I recommend going with the latest. For DaVinci Resolve 17, you have the standard version and there's the studio version. The studio version is the pay version. If you simply want to move forward with the free version, select DaVinci Resolve 17 and then select your operating system right down here. DaVinci Resolve is a powerhouse video editor. Here, just like the others, you can pull your different media clips in, and here I can pull them down onto the timeline and I can start organizing what my video looks like. Right over here, I have a clip viewer and then I also have my project viewer. Over here, I could adjust all sorts of different settings related to the video, the audio, and different effects or transitions that I decide to insert. One of the really nice things about DaVinci Resolve is I have all of these other applications that are all part of DaVinci Resolve. Here I could load a view of all of my different media files. Here I have a dedicated cutting view which makes it even easier and quicker to cut your different video clips. Here you have your standard editing view, but also if I want to add any VFX, I have a Fusion page where here I can add all these different effects and I have a node view where I can start pulling them together. Over here, I also have access to colors. The color view in DaVinci Resolve is one of the industry-leading ways that you can set color on your video. Down below, I also have access to something called Fairlight Audio, and this is a super powerful tool that you can use to adjust the audio on your projects. With DaVinci Resolve, they bring together multiple what could be standalone applications all into one interface. So as you're pulling together your project, you can very quickly jump between, say, the editing view and then the VFX view using that clip. Out of all of the video editors that we looked at today, arguably DaVinci Resolve has some of the most advanced functionality. In terms of another application that's similar to DaVinci Resolve, you have HitFilm Pro and then you also have Adobe Premiere. Those are comparable to what DaVinci Resolve offers, but what's great about DaVinci Resolve is it's entirely free to start using and only some of the features are behind a paywall. Overall, DaVinci Resolve is an excellent choice, and that's why I use it as my primary editor. Although the one downside is it has a very steep learning curve. In fact, anytime I use this video editor, I feel like I'm constantly learning new things about it. But that's also what makes it so exciting. What you can do with this tool is pretty much limitless. We've looked at a lot of fantastic and free video editors today, but I did want to call out some other noteworthy free video editors beyond the 5 that we already looked at. One of them is the VSDC video editor, and this is also a freemium video editor, so you get most of the core functionality for free, but then a few items are behind a paywall. This is also a good option. There's also HitFilm Express, and this is similar to DaVinci Resolve in terms of what you can do. This also follows a freemium model where you get most functionality for free and then you can upgrade if you want to unlock more functionality. And lastly, another great video editor is called VideoPad, and this is made by NCH Hardware. Now, it is free for home use, but you do get an annoying notification that tells you and always reminds you that you're on the free version. There are also some limitations, like you could only insert so many audio tracks, they limit the number of plugins, but once again, for a free video editor, this also works fairly well. Alright, well that was a quick look at my favorite free video editors. Let me know down below in the comments, which one are you going to use moving forward? If you want to see more videos like this in the future, please consider subscribing. Alright, well that's all I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Even if your team's not in the same place, your work can be. You just need Asana. Asana organizes work, so teams know what to do, why it matters, and how to get it done. Try it for free at asana.com. That's ASANA.
I like that Nintendo Switch has games that kids like to play together.
I like that I can play my games after the kids go to bed. Nintendo Switch.
That's our way to play.
Additional game systems and/or accessories may be required for multiplayer mode. Game systems and some accessories sold separately.
Hello YouTube, this next video is a free extract from my larger course called Premiere Pro Essentials. If you want to go further with Premiere Pro, check out the link in the description. Let's get going. Hi there, my name is Daniel Walter Scott and I'm an Adobe certified instructor. And in this course, you and me are going to learn how to make beautiful videos together using Adobe Premiere Pro. This course is aimed at people new to Premiere Pro. No previous video editing experience is needed. It's also for those of you, who are self-taught, who open the program reluctantly, hack away at it, swear a lot. This course is for you too. We do start right at the beginning and work our way through step by step, but we do cover a lot of ground in this course. You'll come out the other side with, be pretty confident taking on a real wide range of video editing work. During the course, you'll work through real-world projects like editing an interview, a wedding video, a short commercial and documentary, social media advertising videos, YouTube how-to videos with talking head footage mixed with screencasts and voiceovers. You'll learn how to work with text, animation, and motion graphics. We'll make special effects, add music. We'll take your still images and make them feel like real video. You'll learn how to do color correction, color grading, and lots of video transitions. Plus all the technical bits too, like HD versus 4K and frames per second, all the way through to exporting. You'll learn how to balance and sync your audio, fix bad audio like removing echo and background noises, plus loads more, including things like shortcuts and tips and tricks. On top of the class projects that we do together, there are practice assignments, like little mini projects that you get to do to practice your skills, but also build videos for your portfolio. Enroll now if you are ready to upgrade yourself and finally learn how to make beautiful videos in Premiere Pro.
Oh, you can't sleep.
You made it! Welcome to the course. First thing we need to talk about is getting started. First up, exercise files. So you need to download the exercise files. There'll be a link on the page here somewhere. Be warned though that they're pretty big. 1.4 gigabytes. So if you are somewhere where you've got like a limit on how much you can download, you might have to go to work or go to school, the library, and download them. They'll take a little while, but you need those first to get started. Next question is, what kind of computer? Do you need a Mac or a PC? Doesn't matter. Software runs the same on both of them. Some of the shortcuts are different, and I'm going to explain those through the course, but I'll just point them out. I'm using a Mac myself, but it's not hard to follow along with a PC, and I'll just explain if there are any small little differences along the way. So what software do you need? You need Premiere Pro. There's a couple of other different flavors of Premiere Rush, Elements. Okay, but Premiere Pro is what we're going to be using in this course. It's the kind of main one that Adobe makes. The other question I get is, can I use an older version of the Premiere Pro? Not really. It is, if you're using say CS6 Premiere Pro, it's just going to be pretty frustrating doing this course. You're going to be able to do about 60% of what we're going to do together, but when it gets to like, so you'll be able to do basic editing, the same as the newer version. We're using 2020 in this course. 2021's just about to come out. Okay, so anything above or around that sort of time frame will work perfect. Anything that's pretty old, like CS6, you're just going to get to the bit where it says fix audio. Okay, there's a button, and you're not going to be able to do it, and you're going to have to figure out how to do it in an older version. So maybe an older course for CS6 might be better for you. All right, let's talk about hardware. You're going to need some minimum requirements in terms of your computer or desktop, okay, to actually run Premiere Pro. It's quite stressful on computers. Okay, so the best way to do it is, it changes all the time, so Google the words Premiere Pro, system requirements, and Adobe will tell you what the minimum and recommended requirements are. Okay, and the closer to recommended you are, the better, the faster it will run. The minimum will actually run, you won't have any problems, but it'll be painfully slow. Now, a question often asked is, what happens if I'm below the minimum? I've got a really old, crappy laptop. What do? It'll probably still work. I don't know how old and crappy yours is, okay, but I know I've got a PC back there, my Lenovo, okay, it's really old, it's below the minimum requirements, but it still loads Premiere Pro just fine. Okay, I'll take that back. Not just fine, it loads, it works, it pops up with a warning saying, hey, we do not support your video card. But you click OK and it still works. So the biggest problem is collecting it from downstairs once I've thrown it at the window. It is painfully slow, but it'll work. So have a little look at the requirements and don't skip any videos. I realize the irony of putting this at the end of this video because the skip is already skipped. I say it because there are some sections that you might think, oh, I'm just going to skip that because that doesn't relate to me. Watch it because I've had to kind of stage all the different kind of bits that we're going to learn throughout the course at different kind of like learning levels. So even though it might say something like Instagram, you're like, I don't need to watch that. I've got other bits that can be used, techniques and tools that can be used generally amongst other different kinds of video editing. So try not to skip videos. This is the end of this one now. You can skip now. Okay, yeah, let's get going. A question that comes up a lot is, what is the difference between Premiere Pro and After Effects? If you already know the answer, you can skip this video. If you're unsure, stick around. Basically, Premiere Pro is video editing and After Effects is special effects. So Premiere Pro would be something you'd use if you are going to make a how-to video like this one. Okay. If you are making a commercial, a documentary, a feature film, I can't think of anything else, but it's all to do with taking footage from a camera generally, okay, and doing cuts, doing transitions, doing some basic color correction, fixing the audio, and then sending it on its merry way. After Effects, on the other hand, is all about motion graphics and kinetic type, and if your logo needs to spin in and spin around and catch fire for no good reason, that is After Effects. Let me show you a couple of examples just to make it crystal clear. Alright, a good example of what After Effects does is kind of their own website. You can see in the background here the types of things that gets used. You can see kind of cool transitions and intro videos. There is special effects, laser car, some just interesting special effects. But I feel like there is another side to After Effects, the side that I do more of. It's more like motion graphics. See this intro here? There's something similar to the beginning of these videos. There's a bit of camera work going on and some zooming and some kind of animated graphics. You can see me interacting with this here. That's After Effects. Okay, so I do kind of more, you can kind of see motion graphic style stuff. Animated infographics is what this course is, if you want to do After Effects, check out that. But there's a lot of cool stuff you can do like this in After Effects. Other things that are quite cool are more motion graphics, okay, where, yeah, it's kind of more design style animations. You can kind of see all of this type stuff. Yeah, so that is After Effects. Premiere Pro, let me show you an example. So this is one of the examples from the course that we're going to do, and it's a short documentary on parkour, and basically you can see in footage here, there's a bunch of MP4s that were recorded on camera, there's some audio, and we combine it together to tell a story in the timeline over here. Okay, let's play it through.
When I first started doing parkour, it was 5 years ago.
There's a bit of interview in the background, we cut between a few different videos.
Watching videos of others and blowing my mind.
B-roll.
People can jump so far.
Wait for it.
Tricks. I realized that there's no limits. All limits are...
Fade in some dramatic music. Oh, look at that. So yeah, Premiere Pro, documentaries, commercials, YouTube videos, how-to videos, anything that does with videos. Premiere Pro is really good at doing it quickly and outputting it quickly. Freaks out for special effects, does some stuff. We're going to do special effects in here. But After Effects freaks out at doing this kind of editing in front of us. But loves doing all the special effects. So Can you get away with using Premiere Pro without After Effects? Totally. Premiere Pro does a lot of the simple stuff that you want to do in terms of special effects. It's just the more hardcore stuff to After Effects. Alright, that's it. Premiere Pro, video editing, After Effects, special effects. Let's actually start one of our projects. Hey there, just quickly before we carry on, I just want to remind you this is like a small part of the larger course. Hopefully it's some good value here, but if you do want to go a bit further, okay, you enjoyed this course, teaching style, loving Premiere Pro so far, check out the full course. It's called Premiere Pro Essentials, and there'll be a link in the description. Alright, carry on. Hi there, this is going to be our first project. We are going to take some video captured on a camera, stitch it together here on our timeline. This handsome man is going to talk about our course that he's making. We're going to fix the color, we're going to fix the audio, we'll add some thirds and some background music. Let's have a little listen. Hi there, my name is Daniel Scott, and I'm an thirds and some happy background music. There'll be some bullet points as well. And correcting audio, correcting colors. It's a nice simple project to get us started. Figure out our way around Premiere Pro. Alright, so open up Premiere Pro, and yours is going to look something like this. It won't look exactly like mine. What you might get faced with is a bunch of intro videos that you can watch. You can skip those, that's my job. So we want to create our first project. Okay, you can do it by over here, you can see the word new project. We've got a file, new project. Either way, get started. This new project window will open. Let's give our project a name. This it's an XD intro course. I like to give mine a date. Okay, so we're going to put in the date just of when it gets started. Okay, so the other thing you need to do is the location. Where do you want this file to be? Now click browse. What we'll do is we'll put in our exercise files. Let's go to project 1 and just dump it in here. We don't need to worry about any of this other scary looking stuff. Just click OK. Now your Premiere Pro might look a little different from mine, so what you need to do is go to Window, go to Workspaces, make sure Editing is selected. If it's not, give it a click, then go to Window, Workspaces, and we'll hit this one that says Reset to Saved Layout. Click on that, and it will just kind of rejig everything to kind of get it back to, well, at least so everyone looks the same. That's a handy one to remember when you accidentally go and freak this thing out and everything flies to the wrong place and you're like, I'm lost. Go to Window, go to Workspaces, make sure it's on Editing, just go to Reset Save, and back to normal. Okay, let's get started by importing some footage. Let's go to File, let's go to Import, and I want you to go to your exercise files, go to the Project 1 talking head, and in here let's bring in 01xdintro.mp4. Click Import.
That is terrible.
Now, let me introduce you to your project window. Basically, this is all the files sit that you bring into your project. What we want to do now is actually turn it into something called a sequence or a timeline. They kind of mean the same thing. So over here, this is just like the raw footage. To make it into like an editable timeline that we can start editing and cutting and adding other videos to, you click, hold, and drag it over here. Now, first thing I might acknowledge is that yours might be looking like this. Okay, so I switch between list view and icon view quite a bit. You're probably on icon view. This is really easy view, and the cool thing about icon view is you can kind of, I'm not doing anything, I'm just hovering my mouse over it. I'm just kind of like sliding it across. I'm not even sliding, I'm just moving my mouse back and forth. You can kind of scrub through the footage. Okay, footage is another word for the video that you've brought in. So you can kind of get an idea of what's in it. Okay, so let's be on this icon view to get started. What we want to do now is create our sequence / timeline by clicking, holding, and just drag it in this area down here. It just makes a sequence for us. So over here in our project window, okay, it's taken my MP4 and created a sequence, and it's used the same name, which can be confusing. So this is the sequence, this is my video. How do you tell the difference? Kind of, see this little icon here? If you hover above it, it says I am a sequence, and over here it says I'm a bit of video and a bit of audio. So this sequence, whenever I make a new one, I try to make a habit of going in and double clicking the word down here and giving it a different name, okay, so that it's clear what it is. So I'm going to call this my XD intro sequence. Okay. I don't often call it sequence, I just add that just for this course, just so that we can
so we can remember what we've done.
We're gonna get out
I
of
hit
this
enter on my keyboard. So here's my sequence with a
Actually, I
video
might
on
have
it,
an idea.
and that's just the
Where's the
video by
game?
himself. Over here in my little timeline, you can see this is my video. Let's
Got a
add a
random
second
stake
video
in
to it,
myself,
okay,
but
to
I
make it a
can't
little bit
reach the
clearer
key.
how this sequence works. So to do it,
Luckily,
let's
the
import
key is
file.
closer to yourself.
Let's go to import, and let's
That-
open
Take the stick
O2
and try to
XD
grab-
intro. Click import.
We did
There we
it.
go.
We did it.
So I've got my O1,
We
my
need to
O2,
walk. We got
and my
the key.
sequence. What I'd like to do is
Stop
add
playing
both videos. Okay, I've got O1, you can kind of see the name there. Let's click,
Wait, we
hold,
got
and
to
drag
open the
O2. Just drag it so it's just
This
afterwards.
fell in the
Okay,
box too, just
you
walk
might. You don't really want it here,
Exactly.
nothing wrong with that,
Oh,
but
yeah,
we'll talk
sure.
about that later. But try and get it on the same channels here, or the same tracks. And what you can do is click on it and just drag it so it kind of like butts up at the end there. Okay, just some basic nav to get started, because
Now,
you might be
find
like,
the
I
blue
can't
key to
put my
open the
O2
door.
in
It
because I
should be
can't see
somewhere
it.
around the room.
Okay, or enough room to put it on there. So we're going to look at
Oh,
zooming in and
I
out.
found the
So what
key.
we're going to do is we're going to click anywhere down here in our timeline. Okay, because you can kind of see it gets that blue line around the outside. Okay, you can see if I click up here, blue line around there, blue line around the outside of that. I want the blue line to be around my timeline. And then if you look down at your keyboard, you've got plus and minus. They're generally along the top of your keyboard at the end of the numbers. Okay, you got a plus and a minus, or it might be labeled as an equals. Try tapping those. Okay, plus to zoom in, and minus to zoom out, obviously. I just want you to zoom in kind of like this so you can see a bit of the end here. Okay, and if you couldn't before, you should be able to now go through and drag in number 2. So the one weird thing about that though is if I have this selected in my program window, which shows me kind of what's appearing in my video, if I hit plus there, it'll zoom in on the timeline along the top there and kind of not do what you want. So you just got to be very careful where you have selected. Just keep an eye out for that blue arrow, or blue blocks around the outside. Click down here, plus, minus, easy. Now, if for some reason you don't like that, can't do that, you can use these little weird rubber bands down the end here. I hate them. They're really weird, but some people like them. You can see I can grab the end here and drag it out, drag it in, kind of zoom in and out. That's lovely. And I can grab the center of it to kind of like scrub along. That might be there's nothing wrong with it. Most people use the plus and minus. It's just some people in my classes, they're like, nope, I like that way. Stretchy thing. Alright, next thing in terms of basic navigation is, can you see this little thing here? It's called CTI, okay, your current time indicator. Depending on the tutorials you're following, I think technically it's called the CTI, current time, but it's your playhead. Okay, it's wherever you're, if I grab this little kind of weird half diamond thing, drag it along, you can, it's showing me where I'm up to. So if I hit play here, it moves along. Okay, so this is your CTI playhead. Click it, hold it, and drag it along just to get used to scrubbing along the timeline, because what will happen is, say I drag it along to here, and I hit my little plus button, it's going to zoom into wherever that is. You can see I can zoom right in, and I'm starting to see the audio for my voice, and minus to zoom out. Okay, so move it along here, plus to zoom in, minus to zoom out. Alright, basic stuff. Let's get into becoming an actual editor. So to be a fully fledged editor, which you're going to be in about 10 seconds, you need to actually start slicing your footage up, okay, because at the beginning, there's me. So I've put it right at the beginning here, hit the play button, okay, and you can see me, because I've filmed myself, I have to get the camera going and then go sit down. You'll notice, I've just noticed that my fly's down. Real professional. There's a lot of like me wiping the sweat away. Lots of great stuff. There's a false start. Watch this. I kind of drag my playhead to beginning here, hit play. You don't have the audio through this video here. You know, you can drag it along and listen to it. You can kind of see that I said hi there. And I just didn't do very well, so I started again. There's a lot of restarts, okay, or second takes. So you can kind of see roughly where I get to about here, so drag it along. Just before I start waving my arm, drag the CTI, okay, to about just before I start waving. And we're going to grab our editing tool. This is the main one you're going to use in Premiere Pro. It's called the razor tool. In your toolbar, the fourth one down, click on that. Okay, and click once, kind of anywhere in here, along with this little blue line for your CTI is, and you've made your first cut. Let's grab the selection tool. Okay, this top tool. This first bit, hit delete. Okay, we've made our first edit. Ta-da! You're a video editor. Not a very good one, but you got to start somewhere. Alright, next thing we're going to do is click it and drag it. So I've clicked it once and just dragging. You can drag any part. It's better to drag the top part of it. If you drag the bottom part, okay, this is the audio part of the video, and this top part is the video. If you drag the bottom part, you can adjust the volume and stuff. Don't do the weird stuff. Click, hold, and drag this along, okay, until it kind of snaps at the beginning here. Okay, so it's kind of stuck at 0, 0. Drag it along, right there at the beginning. So the next bit of editing is going to be chopping it off at the end. So you're going to play it through, and when it gets to the end, we're going to hit stop. And I'm going to show you a little shortcut. We're going to do a few shortcuts throughout this course. We're going to start with this one, the spacebar key on your keyboard. So look down your keyboard, spacebar, hit it once. It's the shortcut for this button. Okay, because you do it so often, you can see if I hover above it, it says space, start, stop. So spacebar on, spacebar off to start and stop it. So play it all the way through until it gets kind of to the end. I'm going to do the same, and where I feel like it finishes, I'm going to hit my spacebar to stop. And it isn't perfect just yet. I've stopped it. My razor tool down. What happens? You see that little green flag? It's the auto save. Premiere Pro at saving your project as you go through. So we're gonna grab the razor tool, click on it once, selection tool, this part that I don't want, hit delete, and then I'm gonna shuffle this over. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing for this next bit. Now the cool thing about Premiere Pro is I'm going to zoom in on my little timeline down here. What was the shortcut for zoom? Plus, that's right. As long as it's blue around the outside, by clicking anywhere in here, or the clip, doesn't matter, zoom in a little bit, okay, you can see this audio waveform, and that's, you do a lot of your editing to this audio waveform. So what I would like to do is grab my CTI on my playhead at the beginning, hit spacebar, realize, false start, drag it along here. If you, sometimes what some people see my intros and are like, oh, that's really good. I don't realize I had to do like 50 false starts to get my flow going. There you go. Persistence then. So I'm going to get right to the beginning of this bit. I can kind of tell this is the bit without actually knowing. Okay, so dragging the center of this kind of stretchy thing is quite useful. Okay, at least now until we get into a few more shortcuts. Okay, and I can kind of tell by the waveform that I continue on my merry way, so this is probably the final cut, the final shot that I want. I'm going to drag it to about there, grab my razor tool, thank you razor tool, click, and I can just go over here and actually probably just guess that that's probably the end. Okay, just click once. Go back to my selection tool, this first bit, select this last bit, and I'm just hitting delete on my keyboard. Okay, and then this guy, I'm going to click the top part, not the bottom part, and drag it along. Because if you drag the bottom part, often, and this is with the audio, remember, so drag this top part, and you, my friend, have edited our first video, at least the first part. Welcome to the club. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see my whole timeline. I'm going to drag the CTI all the way to the end here. I'm going to hit spacebar and watch it all the way through. I'm not going to, but you should. Okay, just actually, I'm going to drag my CTI to here. Here's my little cut across. Okay, this is a straight cut. You've done a bit of editing, you've done a transition. Okay, that, believe it or not, is a transition, and probably the one you're going to use the most. Just a nice straight cut between two different shots. And if I'm honest, 80% of my time in Premiere Pro is exactly that. Razor tool, kitty cut, drag it up. Okay, we'll learn a few speed tricks to kind of speed that part of it up, but that's, yeah, you're a video editor, people. And one thing I want to acknowledge before we go is a little bit of weirdness. There's a lot of weirdness in Premiere Pro, to be honest. What I'd like to do is show you what might happen, you might have done already, is I got my sequence, okay, I got the 2 video files over here, this is my timeline. Okay, over here it's something called the program window. Program window is a fancy name for this is what's actually going to be exported. Anything that kind of plays along in here is the stuff that's going to go out at the end. You got this other window called the source window. So if I double click on O1, if you're a double clicker, you've probably already found here.